coming. So for today, we're gonna have Mama Ian, who's gonna talk about how to overcome your massive obstacle. So, but before that, I want to tell you about what is happening at Hubud. So for today, later at 6:30, we're going to have a Hubud karaoke night. Where's the spirit? Okay, I love the spirit now. So please come. There will be some beers and cocktails available at canteen as well. So you can just buy some beers there and have fun together. And since that event is open to public, so you can bring your friends as well, and then just mingle with others. And also, I just want to tell you that we have some news, some good news, that we got selected as not selected, but we got nominated as as the best co-working space by coworker.com. So you can go to coworker.com on Facebook, and then you can find Hubud there, and then please vote for us if you feel like this is the best co-working space for you guys. So yeah. So for right now, please welcome Mama Ian.
So thank you very much. Thank you for coming today and taking the time and the interest to sit here now for an hour. And I would like to say a few things in advance about who I am and what I do. And then I would like to stop that and go over to the topic so that you really have a takeaway today. I have no intention of talking for 1 hour and you listen to me. I want you to work on your own issues, whatever that is, and I give you the steps in how to actually go through a challenge or an obstacle step by step, what you can do, how you can handle it, and how you can focus on the outcome and achieve that. Okay? So my name is St. Wilkinson, for sure St. Wilkinson. I work with a company in the US, which is based in Boston. It is the oldest coaching company in America. They are based there since 1964, so over 50 years in business, and they work with IBM, Apple, Bain Capital, and a lot of big companies all over the world. They have taught in Harvard and MIT about speech communication. Now, you hear I have an accent. I'm originally from Switzerland, so my English is not picture perfect. But then again, it doesn't need to be. And I don't know, do you have any questions at the moment? I'm about to write a book. You can find that here. I'm not selling anything because I do executive coaching. I'm hired by board of directors and chairman of companies to work with the CEOs on their issues. How to present to stakeholders, how to present in front of board of directors, etc. So I don't usually do private coaching or anything like that. I'm focused on corporate businesses, right? Now, today, I would like to give you, would you like some paper and pens? It's just in the middle. You can take a board to write on, and please help yourself. Yeah. Okay, so we all deal with problems and challenges in life, right? My own personal story has been, I had a car accident when I was 26. I had a nearly 100% invalidity, and over 20 years climbed out of that hole, personally, professionally, financially, and everything else. With 2 children, we traveled the world in many different countries, and I've been based in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, for the last 12 years. We lived in Bali for a while, 2010 and 11, and I've been in many different environments, so from co-working spaces to corporations to private environments to any setup where human beings interact and work together, right? In terms of challenges, I give you a set of questions that you can apply to any situation you find yourself at. And if you manage to answer all these questions, you already have the foundations in how to go forward in solving that problem. Now, what I'm telling you today, it's not rocket science. Maybe you've heard about some of the things already, but maybe you haven't heard it all put together in one place. So I just tried to give you the whole picture. If you have questions, please feel free to just say anything, and we'll deal with whatever is coming up at the moment. So I would like to give you 2 minutes to just write down on your paper what at the moment is the biggest challenge for you in your life. We won't talk about it. It's just for your personal use. You don't have to show it to anybody. It's just for yourself. So you can start working with that.
One, like the biggest one?
Whatever you're struggling with the most at the moment. It can be personal, it can be business, it can be finance or health. So the reason why I do it is I want you to work with real life questions. I don't want you to sit here and in theory listen to something that doesn't bring anything. I want you to walk out of here today with having some real meat on the bone, I call that, things to work with that will take you forward. If anyone needs more paper, in the middle there's a stack and pens. And then I think there's some more seats, otherwise we'll get some more seats, right? So while we're doing this, you might want to write the points somewhere that I'm mentioning, because in the future, you're dealing with an issue, you don't know what's going on, you feel unwell, you're stressed, things are happening, you can't really pinpoint what it is. The questions I'm giving you and the structures will help you to define where exactly is the problem and how are you able to go about it, right? Because as long as you're kind of tapping in the dark and you don't know what's going on, you're unable to do anything about it. So the clearer you get, the better you can deal with issues. Okay, so 2 minutes are up. Does anyone need some more time? They just continue writing. I will go on with the topic. Now, once you've defined what it is, which area, right? The next question you have to ask yourself, honestly, can I do something about it or not? Is it something I can change in some manner, way, fashion, or is it something that is out of my hands? The next questions you want to get answered is, I just write them down. These are the 7 journalist questions. You can use it for interviews. If you're a journalist or you work with it, you know that by heart, but a lot of people don't know all of them, so I write them down. Who? What? Where? How? Why? How much or how long? With whom? They're not in a particular order, but these are the points you want to have answered. 7. Maybe there are more, I don't know, but this is the roster you want to go through. So first question, who is involved in that issue? Like if you're on a theater scene, who are the players and the actors in this challenge, drama, setup, whatever it is? Who are the people involved? And then you want to focus on the key players. Who are the ones that have the decision power? You don't want to lose your energy and time convincing people, talking to people that in the end have no impact whatsoever in helping you solve your problem. This is a mistake a lot of people make. They waste a lot of time and energy and resources at the wrong address. Then they get exhausted, frustrated, they think, oh, I'll never be able to solve this. But all along the way, they have not realized they're talking to the wrong people. So are these people qualified? Are they in the right position to help you? Are these people that have decision power? Like in a shop, I give you a very small example. You have a problem. You want to return an item. Don't talk to the person at the cash counter. She doesn't have the power to decide over this. Go to the manager. Small example, right? There's no issue in discussing with the cashier for an hour why she should take the item back or exchange it for something else, because usually they can't decide that. So look for the people who have decision power. What is it about? Now, when we have a challenge or an obstacle, usually as human beings, we get all emotional. We are all over the place. We're frustrated, we're angry, we're scared, maybe we're tired, we're fed up. So emotions here don't help. You have to rationally analyze what is it about. If you can put that in one sentence, then you're good, because you can communicate it to other people. Have you ever heard two people arguing and fighting? One says one thing, the other one says another thing, but they're totally different pages. They talk past each other. So that's not working, right? If you focus on the rational part, this is facts and figures. Not emotions. You will be able to get to the core of the issue. Once you have the core of the issue, you know what you're dealing with. You named the beast by its name, so-called, right? Then you want to ask yourself, where? Where is it taking place? What is it about? So let's say you have a difficult conversation with somebody. How do you stage it? Where do you want to have that discussion? What environment are you choosing to talk about this? It's probably not going to help if you're in a crowded cafe with a lot of music and people and noise around you if you want to talk about sensitive topics. So it helps to define, okay, let's talk about this that time, that day, in this environment. And then we're both ready to listen and to talk, right? Especially when emotions run high. Stop. It's like pouring oil into the flame. It doesn't help, right? This is the environment. And then how? How do you deal with it now? Now you have this information. Maybe you can put this to the end here, after you have all the other questions. Let's put this at the end. Why? Why is it an issue for you? Why is it a challenge? You can ask yourself 3 questions. Could I let it go? Could I let it go? So to analyze this, what helps is think of yourself when you're 80 years old. I know it's a bit tricky in some cases, but think long ahead in time. And then think you're looking back. Is this something of importance? 10, 20, 30 years from now? Is this life changing? Is this important on any level in my life? If not, let it go. Get over your ego and just let it go. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time and your energy. Right? I'm not talking about business issues here, right? This is from your personal point of view, emotional. If you could let it go, the next question is, would you let it go? Some people like to be angry, right? They have other issues and they're happy about any occasion that comes along to out on another level. So would you let it go? If yes, again, When do you let it go? It's your decision right now, in 1 month's time, in a year from now, 10 years from now, next week. It's up to you. It's your life, right? So this is the why question, right? That's a bit messy, sorry. So once you have defined what the issue is, what's going on, who is involved, why you want to deal with it, the next question is, how much time is this going to take me? How long is it going to take? If you have a court case going on, right? Someone has damaged an item. You take the person through the lawyer to court. How much is it going to cost you? How long is it going to take? Court cases usually take 5, 7, 10 years. Are you willing to put in that effort? Is it worth it? You see? So ask yourself, do you want to make this investment of energy and time? If yes, then go ahead, right? How much and how long is it going to take? And then with whom are you going to work on the solution? Because going alone, especially in cases of challenges and problems, usually doesn't work. So we all are social people, we all interconnected, and we all need help because we cannot know everything. Even if we do know everything, our day only has 24 hours. So, can I wipe this out in the beginning here? Anyone needs that still? No? Okay. So one person alone, sorry, my drawings, can only carry that much. You only have that much time and that much strength, right? If you team up with other people, and I guess that's a no-brainer, you know that already, you can multiply it infinitely, basically, right? Depends how many people you line up. So if you have an issue and you need to collaborate, look for the best people available. Don't go cheap. If you cannot afford it, barter. Barter with your skills, with your time, with your talents, with what you know, with your network, with your connections. Especially, for example, in court cases, right? If you have a lawyer, you cannot afford the fee, you always can make a deal. You can say, okay, you get paid after I win the case. If it's a clear-cut case, he will say yes. So you don't have to come up with the money up front. Collaborate with other people. I'm not good in technology, I want to do a website. I can look for a really good web designer. In exchange, I give him other knowledge and information, for example. Or I pay cash. That's a choice, right? But there are always other ways. Find the thing outside the box, right? Mind map, brainstorm, the craziest ideas. Some of them actually work. Just try. Because most people in life are afraid to ask. If you ask someone, you only get 2 answers. You know which one that is, yes? Yes or no? If you ask, most of the time it's a yes. The only thing you need to do is ask. Now we come to the mindset, right? I'll talk about this in a minute. So the last question here was, how? So by now, having gone through all these questions that you asked yourself, you should be able to define how are you going to go forward with this. Is there anything missing? Do you have any more ideas in a question that needs to be asked beforehand to define your course of action?
spoken about who you might wish to help you with this, but not about what skills you might need just internally
Yeah.
to go forward, or knowledge, skills or knowledge that you need to tackle it.
Yes.
So where you need to upskill yourself in certain ways.
So the question is, sorry.
The question is, what skills or knowledge do I need to go forward?
Okay. How do you know what you need to know if you don't know? Right? Kind of. Ask someone who is already there. Yeah? Ask a professional. Do some research. Don't ask your friend, your neighbor, your mom, your aunt, your daughter. Ask someone who is in the profession and has experience. Most people, if you ask them for advice, they're happy to give it to you. People actually in general like to help other people. If they're validated and appreciated, of course not for hours and hours and hours, right? But if it's a question that takes me 5 minutes to answer, why wouldn't I do that? Makes me feel good because I'm seen as an authority in this area, and in exchange, it's a small thing for most people. And again, I'm saying, I mean, if you get a no in one place, go to the next. And then to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. Never give up, right? Just look for the one person that wants to help you or can. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but I always say you don't jump up a mountain, right? You have to go step by step by step by step. So once you're ready and you're determined, along the way, the people will show up that are going to bring you further. Now, in terms of mindset, can I wipe this out? Okay. Okay. Now, what stops us from actually doing all these things? Fear. And what else? Insecurity, right? So when you go on YouTube, there's so many motivational videos and books and everything. They're all good, right? Be positive, be proactive, take action. But I haven't found one that actually tells you really what do you need to do when you're really scared. How do you do that, right? So I want to teach you an exercise that you can use in any setting. Even if you're sitting in a meeting with people, it won't be visible if you practice it a little bit. It's very easy. They use that for the Navy SEALs before they go into action. It calms down the nervous system. It takes you 3 minutes, and it's extremely effective. So when you're in a situation of fear and self-doubt, you know what happens, right? It spirals out of control. So the more you go into it and the more you think about it, the more you're going into this fear feeling. Nib it in the butt. It's something that can be done. You're not victims of your fear. You actually feed into it with your thoughts and your mindset and what you're worrying about, right? So to nib it in the butt, I teach this to CEOs before they go into really difficult meetings where they have to decide over millions of dollars, decisions, etc. It works. It really does work. So, okay. I didn't come up with it. I didn't invent it. This has been researched in universities. It's the most efficient breathing exercise to calm down your system. So I will time 3 minutes on my phone. Is anyone who doesn't want to do it just asking in advance? It's a breathing exercise. No? Everyone is okay with it? Sometimes people feel uncomfortable with this kind of things, so I ask. Okay, so what's happening is, it's very easy. You breathe in through your nose, counting in your mind to 3. And you breathe out through your mouth, counting in your mind to 4. That's it, for 3 minutes in your own rhythm. So I just show it quickly. So I breathe in. That's it. Then breathe in again. Don't do, right? It's not necessary. if you do breathe normally, you can time it on your watch and your phone, wherever it is. Even when you're sitting somewhere, people won't notice. 3 minutes is a very short time frame if you're doing things. If you're doing this exercise, I'm warning you right now, it seems like an eternity. Just focus on your breath and count for this exercise now. And I will tell you when to stop, so you don't have to worry about time or anything else. The moment your thoughts snap somewhere else, so you start doing this and it goes somewhere else, you're not counting. Because the brain is incapable of thinking of two things at the very same time. You cannot. It's like a straw hole, right? You have a thought process, and only one thought at the time goes through that pipeline. You cannot have two. So when you realize you think about the holidays or what you have to do this afternoon, then you're off track. Then you're off the exercise. Okay, ready? And start. And okay. How do you feel? Works, right? So don't do this when you're driving. I'm not kidding, yeah? Do this only when you're in an environment where you have no machines to handle, or because it completely centers you in yourself, right? That's what I mean with caught it in the bud. Do this exercise. You don't need equipment, you don't need specific instructions, you don't need infrastructure. You can do this anytime, anywhere, in any environment, basically, apart from driving. Yeah? So the mind, is a fickle thing. Huh? In Asia, we call it the monkey mind because the thoughts, they jump all over the place. If you need to focus before an exam, a meeting, whatever you're doing, do the exercise. If you have a conversation that's difficult, you're in a fight, whatever else it is, if someone has an open mind, you might want to suggest to the person, let's do this for 3 minutes. It's not a long time. That's about the time frame it takes to go to the bathroom, right? If you don't have the space to do it, go to the toilet and do it there, you know? But this is something you always have access to under any circumstances. You have to go to the doctor before surgery, before something that's scary. Do this, okay? So basically, this is how to tackle fear. That's the first step. So first, you calm down. Now you know how. And it works, right? Number 2, now that you're prepared, because you have done all the questions and you have all the directions, you know what you have to do, with whom and when and how and what, how much time it takes, how much investment you want to give into it in terms of money, time, energy, whatever else, you take action, right? Whoops. Now, how do you take action? Being busy doesn't mean you're doing something, right? Running left, right, center, doing 1,000 phone calls doesn't mean you're doing something. You're just busy. Don't just take action, take focused action. Ask yourself, is what I'm going to do right now going to help the outcome I want to achieve or not? If not, next, move on. Stay focused. Because many times in coaching I tell people, you know, when you want to shoot a target with like an archer, right? The person stands there, focuses, maximum tension, and then you let go. He's not going to hit the target if he's doing this, right? So you only can focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to do everything at the same time. I'm just giving an example. Everyone does it, we're all human, right? But we talk about the ideal outcome and how you most likely get there. This is like a GPS system, right? It gives you the coordinates how to reach your goal. You still can get lost in the middle of the way and then you have to come back to the main street or road. So how do you stay focused? Ask yourself, which step can I take right now that is helping my goal and that is the easiest to do? Again, we don't jump up the mountain. We have to either walk up or we can take a helicopter or there are various ways, but you have to start at the bottom to get somehow to the top, right? Unfortunately, until today, we haven't invented how to beam ourselves there yet, right? So step by step, it's like a staircase. Just define 1, 2, 3, 4. Or just three. The 3 next steps to take. That's it. If you have a to-do list that has 50 points on it, you're going to give up before you even start it, right? There's no point. So remember the topic you wrote down in the beginning when we started? Each person has a different one, I assume. Ask yourself, I'll give you 5 minutes. Ask yourself the questions we were discussing. You're not going to say everything today in this hour, okay? But you get a guideline in how to go about it. So remember the questions: who, what, where, when, why, how, with whom, and how long, how much. Ask yourself these questions and then define what are the easiest 3 steps that I can take right now from today onwards. Not next week, not next month, not next year, now, next 10 minutes. What can I do right now that goes towards what I want to achieve. Because if you take every day 3 little steps, it adds up tremendously over a short period of time. Right? So I give you 5 minutes. Take your own topic that you're working on and go through these questions, right? If someone has a question, I can just ask me. Yeah? If it's not clear or you want to know something else. Yeah? You want? Wait, sorry. It's okay. It's okay.
About the for how long? This is always
Time
my
frame.
point. Yeah, time frame. So, when do I know if it's not worth it pursuing one solution and I should get to another one?
Well, it depends what your goal is. How much time do you want to invest? What's that? Financial stability.
So it's something really important that I cannot give up. And
Right.
I'm pursuing it, but then I
Right.
don't know if I'm
Then the
wasting my
question here
energy
is,
in,
the question here would be, how long does it take you to reach that goal, right?
or
what-
it is more the
How much do you need a month that you know you've reached this goal, and how long does it take you to get there?
my question is more how long should I go for one solution and when should I
That's up to you.
know
You can
it's not
define.
worth it, I shouldn't choose another
Yeah.
solution.
I mean, if it makes you miserable and unhappy and you fall sick all the time and you're stressed out about it, let it go. Just stay where you are for the time being. You see what I mean?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. I can talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
this.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I'll bring this up. Okay. Sorry. Okay, 1 more minute, huh? You see, the more specific you get about what you want, the clearer it becomes what you need to do next. So one thing is to have an issue going round and round in your head, and you let it spin. Another thing altogether is taking it down, breaking it into little components and pieces, and looking at each little piece in one go and define, okay, so that's what I want, how do I get there? facts and figures, right? I'm not saying emotions are a bad thing, they're not. But if they start blocking you from being productive and going where you want to be, then it's not useful, right? Yeah?
Is it possible then, and the question, what is it about this one, like the depression, then the problem changes completely? Like I thought it was
Oh yeah,
personal,
most of the time. Time is up, by the way. 5 minutes are done. Yeah, sure. Many times when I do coaching with people, they think this is the problem and I go to the root cause. It's something totally different. Someone having an issue with authority, not being able to follow orders, and I don't know what else. Now, most HR teams would send them for training, right? Or how to be efficient or whatever else. But it's not going to help because his root issue is in the relationship with his parents, right? That's just one case I was working with. It's a real life scenario. So yeah, you're totally right. Be surprised. But then again, that makes it fun and creative, you know? That's why I said think out of the box, because assumptions are one, you see? People always assume stuff because it's easy, it's convenient, you don't have to use your brain cells, right? So, can I clear this? Do you have it? Yeah, sorry?
I said a question about the second step, the what question. Why do you reduce that to the rational realm if, you know, like you just said, emotions might be the core issue? I mean, if that's a sticking point in whatever issue you're having,
right.
Base emotion, why not explore that rather than facts and figures?
Right, okay. What we're doing today is problem-solving skills, right? How do you go about when you have an issue? Are you going to solve your emotions or root issues or core issues with this? No, you don't. But you know where to look for help. So you know, let's say you have, not you, but as a topic, you have an emotional issue. It's a big problem, right? It blocks you, it hinders your success, it's all the way in your way, right? What do you do? Where do you look for help? Do you remember where I said in the beginning where to look for help if you need some?
Yes, experts.
Experts. Who are the experts for emotional issues? Psychologists, psychiatrists. Psychiatrists if it's physically based, because there's an imbalance of certain hormones or whatever in the brain. So to define that, you would have to do some exams, right?
What if you're thinking in the irrational or emotional realm, say within others or within an organisation? You know, what's an impediment to what I'm trying to achieve, and that is emotions residing in others. Wouldn't you want to explore that rather than just
Okay.
facts and figures?
Can I erase that? Okay. One big life lesson I've learned, me, and I guess many other people too, is you never can change someone else. Never. So you only can always work on yourself. You. That's the power you're having here to work on certain topics. So in a corporate setup, you said emotions are a problem. Someone, I don't know what the example is, but someone has an attitude or treat other people badly or is mobbing, right? What's the topic?
Oh, let's say the team you're leading is resistant to change because of fear of insecurity or their abilities being shown up or fear of the unknown.
The person or within the project and blocking the progress?
Both, I guess. I mean,
These are two different things. If it's the person themselves, it's their problem. You can't solve it. They have to do that themselves. If it's blocking the progress for the project, if it's getting really bad, then that person needs to be removed out of that setup. They're there to work, right? To deliver results and certain outcomes. If they can't do that, then the wrong people in the wrong place. You will not be able to solve their emotional issues, which might be going back to childhood because of abuse or whatever that was, to make them sufficient enough and efficient enough to then be able to deliver the work outcome that the company or you are looking for. It ends here. That's the boundary. Boundaries are very important, by the way. So don't try to save other people. I've done that mistake many years. You cannot. You can help, you can offer your help, but if somebody doesn't want to take it, move on. Don't waste your time.
Sometimes outlining expectations of this is what we're expecting, this is what we're trying
Right.
to achieve, this is the whole big picture, can you deliver on this?
Right.
Ask the question.
You see, let's say you're in a relationship, okay? I'll give you an example. The other person cheats on you, right? Now you have an issue. Your ego is hurt, your setup is disturbed, everything falls out of balance and order how you think it's supposed to be. So that's the blueprint you're having in how reality should look like. Now the real reality doesn't match that blueprint. Now you have a problem, right? Most people then go into crisis mode because they cannot align their expectations with what is really happening. Now I'm not talking here on a moral level. I don't say it's right or wrong. I'm just explaining what happens, right? So now you cannot combine your expectations with what's actually happening in your world, and you spin out of control emotionally because you haven't found ways to deal with it on a different level, right? Can you make it not having happened? No, it happened. It's there, it's real. So you can't change that. Can you change the person? I don't know, you know. Blackmail, harassment, force, you have to love me. Oh, I've done so much for you, and I paid everything for you, and this and that, and now you have to love me back, and that's not right what you're doing, and blah, blah. Does it change the outcome? It doesn't, right? So the number one thing in problem-solving skills is frame this, hang this on the wall. You have to be honest with yourself. Whoops. Can you read this from 4? Sorry. Frame this. You have to be honest with yourself. I guess everyone has been at one point in a situation where they have a friend who comes and talks, oh, do you think I should do that? Do you think that is a good idea? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to friends or anything. Don't get me wrong, right? But most of the time when people ask this question, they already know the solution. They just don't want to accept it. They hope somebody is giving them something to hold on to do the opposite of what they actually know is true, right? Don't waste your time, because if it's a fact, it has happened, it is real, deal with it. Don't waste time and energy to deny, suppress, trying to get it out of the way, to pretend it's not true, and you're hurting yourself. You really do. In business, in personal life, in health, a lot of people have issues, right? There's a knot on the skin, but they're too scared to go to see a doctor. And then they wait. And they know they should go and see a doctor, but they still wait because they're so scared of the outcome. Now, does it help? No, because the sooner you detect, for example, cancer, the more you can do about it. It's treatable. A lot of it is treatable. If you find it early, it can be treated. That's why I always tell people, do health checkups. Oh, I don't have anything, I'm healthy. Yeah. Maybe not. You don't know, right? And it's not to always see the negative or the worst, it's just to be efficient. What costs you more? One health checkup a year? Or then dealing with hospital bills and doctors and medications and side effects, and for months and months. I had 12 surgeries, okay? I know what I'm talking about. I'm not making this up. And every time when I knew something is off slightly, I just went in for it. I said, get it done. Now, right now. I could have died many, many times. I didn't. I'm still here. Now, maybe that's luck or coincidence, or I don't think so. You see, when you stand on the street and you see a truck coming, right? First, it's far away, right? And you still stand there. And it comes near and near and near and near, and you don't move. It's going to hit you, right? So if you wait long enough, the catastrophe is going to happen. All you need to do is take one step to the side. For those who have done Tai Chi or martial arts, that's what you're training. So you're here, you just move. Let it pass, right? Now, why don't people do that? Fear, again. Do the breathing exercise. Go and see a doctor, for example. Talk to the official, talk to the superior, talk to your boss, whoever it is, but deal with it. Be honest with yourself. Don't waste time. Things usually don't get better by waiting. They get worse. Yeah?
When I asked you before about it,
Yes.
I think it can be interesting for everyone.
Yes? I will bring it up. Okay. So to come back to what I wanted to explain just before this, and it feeds into that. Don't make assumptions. A big no. Oh, I want to go and talk to this person for this project. I need a budget. Oh, but it's going to think this and that. I'm silly, or it's out of reason, or I don't know. So I rather not go and talk. Don't assume what people think. You don't know. Ever. Ask. You get 2 answers, yes or no. That's it. But always ask. Don't assume things. Partner is coming home late. You cooked dinner and everything is on the table, and now it's gone because it's 3 hours later. Don't make assumptions. Ask. What happened? Now, if the person is going to tell you a lie or the truth, that's their business, right? But don't make assumptions. Find out the facts and the fears first, and then make a judgment. Now, we all have assumptions. It's human, it's natural, right? It helps us survive and assess situations when it's dangerous. We don't always have the time to find all the facts and the figures and all the questions and go through everything. Sometimes we don't have this time. So this is a natural mechanism to help us survive, and so is fear. If you're fearful of something, it means it's important. If it wouldn't be, there wouldn't be any fear. Fear tells you something is important. If you wake up at night with a nightmare about a topic, you know this is something I have to give some attention to. Fear is important. It's like a signal. Take care of it. The sooner the better, right? Now, the question that she was asking before is about financial stability, right? What was the question?
My doubt is always if I'm pursuing the right solution. So when you were speaking about time, how do I know if, how long should I give this energy, money, attention to a solution, and how long should I pursue something, and then how do I know that I have to change the solution or change the way to go there?
Right, okay.
Because this is something you will always have to face in your life.
Right, okay. Remember the action steps. Remember the questions first. Who remembers the questions? What do you have to find first? Who? So, who is concerned? Is it just you? Is it your entire family? Do you have children? Do you have parents to take care of? Right. What's the next question?
What?
What? What are you looking for? You don't know?
Solution, yeah. I think solution can be a job, but it can be something else.
You see, the problem many times when there is a problem, people don't know what in detail they're looking for. Now, remember the archer? If you're aiming like this, you're not going to hit. So you need to know, where do I want to go? So the question is, who is concerned? Just you?
Yes.
No one else?
No one.
One person. Okay. Next question was,
What's the job?
so what? What do you want to do? You don't have to answer in front of everybody, but do you know what you want? Do you know what you want to do? So you don't know what you want to do, right? So you have to figure out the what before you know how long, right? What was the next question?
Where?
Again, you don't know. This is not criticizing. I'm just explaining how you solve a problem, right? So the next thing you would have to figure out is where. Where do you want to live, right? What was the next question? Why? Why don't you stay in a job employed and stay there and the problem doesn't show up in that sense? You get your monthly salary and pension and why? Why would you want to do it? If your why is not strong enough, you're not going to pull through the challenges.
Why? It's my life. I need it, so it's a big why.
Okay, so the why is clear, right? It has to be a compelling, strong why. People say, I want to lose weight, right? Okay, why? Oh, because just it looks better. Yeah, sure. You're not going to do it, I'm telling you right now, right? If you want to lose weight because your life depends on it, you have diabetes too, and even then people don't do it properly. Then you have a reason. Then you can look into how do you do that, right? What was the next question?
How much for our
Right. Now, this is a very important question in terms of financial. How much? Right? Now, to know this, these are the action steps. You collect all receipts over 1 or 2 months, every single one of them for every penny, right? Receipts. So every shop you go to, whatever you pay, whatever goes out of your hand, you write it down. Receipts. Now, some people might say, oh, this is a pain in the backside or whatever else. So what? Just do it. Once you've done it for 2 months, you know where your money goes. So you have a budget. And you don't do a budget in advance. You do a budget in hindsight. You make categories. Where did my money go in terms of upkeep, maintenance, rent, health, medical, television, internet, access, phone, insurances? So if you do a budget, right? What are the main points you have to consider? Everyone lives somewhere, right? Usually you pay rent. If you don't pay rent, normally people pay a mortgage, right? What's the next one? Utilities. Electricity, telephone, internet, gas, taxes. If you don't pay taxes, then it might be lawyer's fees, I don't know, whatever. Accountant. If you don't have an accountant, it might be something else. All these expenses, right? The legals. I call these legals. What else? You need food.
food and transport?
So you need transportation. If you don't have a car, you go and take a bus, a bike, a bicycle, whatever it is. Public transportation. Next. Insurance. You need insurance. Health insurance, house insurance, car insurance, life insurance if you have family, whatever else. Personal liability insurance if you travel all around the world. I would recommend that. So if you do damage to someone else's goods, you forget to switch off the water tap in the bathroom and leave, for example. Things like that, right? So you need insurance. Don't save on insurance. Very bad idea. Health insurance, no go. You don't need, I don't care. Pay your health insurance, right? Because when it happens and you need it, you don't get it. Next. What else?
For spare time, like hobbies.
Activities, right? We have forgotten the most important, food. Food, these are the highest. Usually food, rent, and insurance, plus transportation, depending what you're doing. Food you can cut down, but you can't cut it out. So when you go through a budget, so you collect all the receipts, you analyze where the money goes, right? Then you define between, and then again, be honest with yourself. These are just intellectual exercises. It doesn't happen in real life. You just have to think about it. But most people can't even think about it, you know? So you have to ask yourself, what is a need and what is a want? Now, what's the difference?
A want you can do without, a need is a necessity.
Right. So your survival is guaranteed,
Yeah.
right? You have a roof over your head, you have food on your table, shoes on your feet, clothes on your body. You're good. Anything else is additional, right? You don't have to have the latest hype in technology, or maybe it makes life easier, but it's not essential for survival. A need is survival. Bare survival, minimum. And everything else is a want. Now, if you do a budget, ask yourself, where do I have wants that I don't need and I can cut it out? Examples. Extra bill for television or Netflix. You have it, but you don't use it that much. Or you don't need it, right, for survival. Some do, but I'm just saying. Memberships that you signed up for a year ago and you forgot about it, but you pay every month directly from your credit card. So if you want to do a budget, you have to monitor your finances. That means you have to check your bank statements, you have to check the billings, you have to look up your credit card payments, you have to verify if the deductions are correct or not. You will be surprised in 30 years of experience, no one has ever made a mistake in my favor. So when money was charged additionally or bills went out wrongly, it was always in their favor, never in mine. So check. It happens. Actually, it happens a lot. And sometimes it's even on purpose. Because people think if you don't say anything, if you don't follow up, it's their gain, right? You do a payment of $1,000 and it hasn't come through and the person doesn't mention it over 6 months or I don't know how long, they forget about it. They made $1,000 right there.
I think a big desire is like everybody's kind of trying to create passive income.
Yes.
Where I'm assuming it's probably a top sort of on the agenda for everybody here. Like
Yeah.
They're in Bali.
So let's
They're
just,
trying to create a business where they
can I hold that thought for a moment? I want to go through this first. So you collect the receipts, you budget, you monitor. Once you have done all this, you define what are my needs, what are my wants. Then you decide, let me see, what am I gonna cut off? Am I over time? Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I'm going to finish in 5 minutes, and I come back to your question. Decide what are you going to cut out of this bill. Then, once you've done all this work, you see it's a lot of work, right? People always think, oh, you're independent, financially independent, you have to do nothing anymore, you don't have to work, you don't have... No, 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 trust me, the more money you have, the more you work. That's how it works, right? You have $1 million, $2 million, you have a headache, what are you going to do with it, that you don't get conned, taken advantage of, ripped off, etc., etc. How do you make it grow? Making it is one thing, keeping it is a whole different story altogether. Making it grow is a third story, right? It never ends. So everyone wants financial independence. Yes, it's nice. Once you have it, you have other headaches. So the thought of, I want to reach paradise because I have enough money and I don't have to worry about anything anymore, is an illusion. There will always be something in life. Because, okay.
Better product.
Sorry?
It just becomes better product.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a difference, right? If you have financial independence, you get out of survival mode. To finish this line of thought, once you have defined what you want, what you can cut off, etc., then you define what is my minimum. What's the minimum amount I need to live a life I like? People assume they need millions of dollars. They don't. You don't. It is proven in research and in studies that life satisfaction is independent of the balance of your bank account. Once your basic needs are covered and everything is taken care of, which is usually around $77,000 a year, it doesn't make a difference anymore if you have 7 billion. I mean, it does, but you understand the idea, right? Once your basic needs are covered, you're good. What is your basic need? And then when you have a number, break it down into 12. Then you know what you need to earn a month. And then it's not such a big deal anymore, you know. Let's say minimum amount in Bali might be $2,000. That's a lot, right? Depending on how you live. If you live in a 5-star villa with swimming pool and 17 rooms, then that might not be enough. If you live in a family compound, that's more enough. You see, it depends all on you. What do you want? And again, be honest with yourself. Somebody likes luxury and says, oh, I can live in a hut, then they're not honest with themselves, right? Find this number that's true for you, and then work backwards from there, right? That's how you define what you want. Now I have to finish, otherwise I'm way over time. I'm sorry for that. Okay. Budget and money.
That was, sorry, because I know.
No, it's okay. I mean, look, all these topics, we can go on for, I could do a 1-year training on all these things. This is just to give you an idea, a hint of what's out there, right? Now the next one is, once you know what you want, how do you cover the basis? If that is through an employment, a job, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with having a job. You build your side business and you're able to have passive income, right? Properties, you don't have to buy an entire property by yourself. You can team up with other people together and do that. Now, property investment is a whole different topic, but I'm just saying there are many ways out there. Equity, commodities, stock market, cryptocurrencies now, right? Bitcoin, right now, I don't want to go into that. But there's a lot of things. Research, get knowledgeable, talk to professionals, find what works for you, where you feel an attraction to, where you feel like, oh, this is interesting. Don't do something where you feel like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to know about it, and then you do it anyways, because the amount of energy you need to just get going, you're not going to succeed. Do something that fascinates and attracts you. Art dealing. Invest in art. For example, wine, gold coins, silver, whatever it is. Find the one thing that you feel like the spark is flying, right? And then focus on that and learn how to do it. How do you learn it? Talk to professionals. People that are already doing it successfully. Don't talk to the guy that runs 7 businesses into the ground. You don't want to ask that person, how do you run a successful business, right? Ask someone who is succeeding already. Ask someone who is where you want to be. Okay? Now the last thing I wanted to give to you. I was in South Africa 2 years ago and saw a gentleman who was completely distraught and down, and his whole energy was really on the floor. And I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "No, I'm not." Usually they don't admit that, but he was in a really bad position. And I said, "What happened?" He said he lost everything. He put his whole pension fund into a business, and it went belly up, right? Now just know that most businesses go belly up within 2 years. 95%, I think. So if you start a business, you most likely fail. That's why they say fail faster to be successful, because you learn. Every time you learn, then you make progress, right? So I told him about this. Money in life is just one thing. If you define yourself only over money, you're in big trouble. Because like right now, when you lost money, you feel like you're nothing worth anymore. He was a family man. He had 2 children that were beautiful and healthy. He had so much going on in his life. So what are the levels you want to look at in your life to bring it all together? There are 8, okay? And then I stop, because otherwise, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, all these questions that I gave you, the whole structures, you can apply to every single level. And then you can do spring cleaning in your life and redefine what you really want with these questions. The first one I call, body. Body is everything health related. Sports, fitness, nutrition, medical, anything that's related to you and your body. Second one I call mind. Your intellectual, learning, progress, advancement, growth, all these kind of things. The next one is soul. Soul is what I define as emotions. All your relationships, family, romantic relationships, business relationships, anything that's related to you in your core and in your emotions, in your heart. That's the next level. Body, mind. The fourth one is spirit. Now spirit, I don't mean religion necessarily, can be, but spirit is your values and your belief system. Very few people actually reflect about that. What are my values? What is my belief system? And then where did I get it from? And the next question, is it mine, or did I just take it over from someone else? From society, my parents, expectations, right? This is values and beliefs. The next one I call greater self. Greater self is what is beyond you. How are you a part of the community as a human being? Not just in your country, but wherever you go, in your environment. How are you perceived, and how do you want to be perceived? How do you fit into the whole, right? Which leads to the next one. That's oneness. I call it oneness. Sorry, my writing isn't level. Oneness means, how do you fit into the whole picture of planet Earth, right? How are you part of the whole? Now, if you want to go into philosophy or religion or this kind of mindsets, it doesn't have to be, right? How do you contribute back, this number 5, greater self? How are you a part of the whole? How do you give back? What's your legacy, basically? What do you want to be your legacy? It goes way beyond money. People are so stuck on the topic of money, and they don't realize that there are 7 other levels that are equally important, or even more, Money is just an expression of all this, right? And then number 7 is business. Now, even if you don't have a business, it's still your business. Your life is your business. Bottom line, what do you want to achieve? And there's one great sentence which I like. I don't always follow it, and I always get into trouble for that, but it's mind your own business first. So before you want to help anyone else, help yourself first, please. Because I always say, if the world was full of happy people, we would be in a very different place. If everyone would take care of themselves first, not in an egoistic manner, but being balanced and healthy, the whole thing would change. And the last one is finance. And now we come full circle back to the conclusion at the end, and I'm over time. What you said in the beginning, do you remember?
That if a problem can become something else, then?
Right.
Or fear?
Yes. You said, why is it that many times we have an issue and
Yeah, and then we figure out.
the root is something totally different? That's why. Right? Now, when you have an issue, from now onwards in the future, give yourself 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sit down, go through all these questions, figure out which category is it in, what can I do about it, what are the next steps, the next 3 steps I can do right now, and do that until the problem is solved. Because remember, the first question we were asking is, can I do something about it or not? If you cannot do anything about it, save yourself all this work and time. Then you have 3 options. You adapt and accept, you change, or you move on. That's it. Thank you.